Well, this book, folks, is The Rabbi Who Found Messiah. And
Thank you. Thank you.
not just a rabbi.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Kurt Schneider here, but this rabbi is the most revered rabbi in recent history in Israel itself, right?
Yes.
Yitzhak is his name,
Yitzhak
which is Isaac.
Kaduri.
Yitzhak Kaduri,
Kaduri.
who lived to be 106 to 108. They weren't quite sure, were they?
Right. Most people have it reported at 108, but you're right. Some say 100, between 106 and 108.
Well, who's quibbling?
He was an old fella.
108. Well, now, please, this book, rather than me asking you questions in the beginning, there's a picture of him on the cover, and
Yes.
boy, everybody ought to have this. Christians and Jews need to get this book. Talk about Saul of Tarsus
Yeah.
and Rabbi Schneider. This man, well, talk about how revered the man has been.
Yes, thank you, Pat. Well, you know, we're living in prophetic times, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is a great evidence of it. Let me tell you about this guy. Yitzhak Kaduri is his name, 108 when he died. 300,000 people came to his funeral. The president of Israel gave the eulogy. They shut the streets of Jerusalem down for almost 2 days because of the hundreds of thousands of people there at his funeral.
And where they couldn't all be in one place. What, they just in all the streets?
They were on balconies,
Just
on rooftops, everywhere they could get.
to pay tribute to this rabbi.
Because he was the most venerated rabbi in Israel's modern history. He was there before Israel was ever a nation. He was in the land, and then he's been through all of the wars: World War I, World War II. 1948, the birth of Israel. Every war that's been fought, very closely connected to Israeli political figures: Ariel Sharon, Benjamin Netanyahu. In fact, he actually campaigned for Benjamin Netanyahu, so he was close to these guys. So this is not just some little obscure rabbi tucked away in the bowels of Jerusalem somewhere, but this guy, I like to call him the Billy Graham of the Jews in Israel.
Yeah,
because this, when Orthodox Jews in Israel see this book and see that picture, immediately they know who he is. In the same way, if we had a book with Billy Graham's picture on it, or Pat Boone's picture on it.
Yeah.
Everybody would know who it is.
A little higher than that.
Okay then. Or Shirley Boone's picture on it.
I tell you, it may not be a stretch to say he was almost like the Pope of the Jews.
Well, yes, any of those examples are apropos because
the leading religious figure.
Exactly. Now, here's what's so astounding about this story. He passed away in January of 2006, but just a few months prior, in October and November of 2005, several astounding things happened. He said 2 shocking things. On the evening of Yom Kippur in his synagogue, and he had a yeshiva, which, as you know, is the Hebrew word for a seminary, a rabbinical training school.
And this is the Day of Atonement.
Yes, the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, in his synagogue service, he said 2 shocking things. He said, first of all, I have met Messiah, I have seen Messiah, and I know who he is, and I know his name, and I'm going to leave his name in a note to be opened 1 year after my death. Now, he said that just a few weeks, really, 10 or 12 weeks before he died, but he couldn't have known he was going to die in a few weeks. But the second shocking thing he said was that I also know, it has been revealed to me, that Messiah will come after Ariel Sharon dies.
Who'd been in a coma for several years.
Well, not at the time he spoke that. At the time he spoke that, in October of 2005, Ariel Sharon was still alive and was the 11th Prime Minister of Israel.
He hadn't had his stroke yet.
But watch this. In just a few weeks after Kaduri spoke those words, Ariel Sharon, in early January 2006, I think it was January the 6th, he had a massive stroke and went into a coma that would last 8 years.
Yeah.
He finally passed away in January of 2014. But so he went into a coma January 6th of 2008. January 23rd of 2008, Yitzhak Kaduri died.
Yeah.
So the same month,
wow.
Sharon goes into a coma.
But he left the word.
Kaduri dies, but he left the word.
That the Messiah would not be revealed till after Sharon died.
Messiah would not come until after Sharon died. So, a lot of people have asked, well, does that mean that the Messiah is going to come, in days or months after. Well, he didn't say that, but what he said was, Messiah will not come until Ariel Sharon passes away. And again, when he spoke that, Sharon was still alive and well and the prime minister.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when he went into the coma, Kaduri could not have known that that coma would last 8 years.
No. Which was really amazing, because most people, that's so unusual for a man to lie in that state for so long.
Very unusual, yeah.
It almost seems as if the Lord determined that he would
It's
be
almost
there,
like
almost in suspended animation
Right.
until the right time.
Right. Now, what's really sensational about this story? So, he dies in 2006. But remember, he had said to his congregation and to the students in his yeshiva that I know who Messiah is, I've met him, I'm putting his name in a note. So 1 year later, 2007, on Kaduri.net, his ministry organization's big website, the note was posted. It was in Hebrew, of course. Israel Today ran a story on it and took a screen capture of the note and put it all over the internet. News First Class, which is a Hebrew-only language big news organization out of Jerusalem, they ran a story on it. The note was kind of encrypted, and he was famous for encrypting his notes, but his note was encrypted with instructions on how to decrypt the note. But you've got to remember now, Orthodox Jew, Orthodox Jewish organization and ministry, so here's this note on the website, but when it was encrypted,
May I interject
decrypted.
just one
Yes.
second? Encrypted means, if people don't know what that means, it's almost like a puzzle, but you're told how to solve the puzzle.
Exactly. In fact, here's what it said. Let me just tell you. I'm going to speak it in English, but in Hebrew it said, "He shall lead his people and prove that the word and the law are valid." Now that's the sentence he left. And people looked at that. Oh, it says concerning the letters of his name. He shall lead his people and prove that the word and law are valid. So when people looked at that, they said, okay, well, that sounds like something about Messiah, but that's not the name. But then they looked at what he said, concerning the letter abbreviation of his name, comma, and then the rest of it. The rest of those words, in English it's a bunch of words, but in Hebrew it's only 6 words. So they took the first letter of each of those 6 words, the letter abbreviation,
Yep.
and it's spelled Yehoshua.
Yeah. Which is
Which
Jesus.
is Jesus, which is
Yeah.
the Hebrew word, for Yeshua or Jesus.
Yes.
Now, when they decrypted that and saw that, his organization took the note down.
Yeah.
Because, the Orthodox Jewish message basically is based on the foundation that Jesus is not the Messiah. So when they saw that their Billy Graham said that Jesus is the Messiah, Yehoshua, they took the note down and ultimately destroyed the note. But it had already been screen captured and had been reported
They did
upon.
destroy the note.
Yes, they did destroy the note.
I've seen the photocopy of it, though.
That's right, and it's in the
his
book.
handwriting.
That's right. So, in the meantime, years went by. I was on top of this. My publishers were on top of it, W&D Books, and they asked me, would you write this? We know you know about this story. You've been doing some work and reporting. So I wrote the book, and they've made a movie out of the book. It's a documentary movie.
Oh.
And W&D Films did, award-winning film producer
Great.
George Escobar did it. But the book and the movie have made its way to Israel, and you're not going to believe what's happening in Israel now.
That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah.
Tell me,
Here's what's happening. Yes. Yeah. Well, 11 of his students that were in his seminary. Now, when I say students, I'm not talking about 20 and 30-year-old people. I'm talking about 40, 50, 60-year-old men studying to be rabbis. 11 of them now are Jesus, born-again, Jesus-loving, Bible-believing Christians because of the teaching he was doing in his seminary, because of the note being released, and one, just not too long ago, because of reading that book and watching the movie, said, I give my life to Jesus Christ now. Yeah. So, and these are guys training to be Orthodox Jewish rabbis.
I've ordered that, by the way, so we'll watch it when you have
the
time.
documentary?
Yes, I have it at home. When you have
Hallelujah.
time.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that
feed him.
either.
We do know, though, that there are a lot of Christians in Israel. We do know
Yes.
that there is an open examination
Yes.
on the part of Jewish scholars. In fact, there's no question in most Jewish scholars that there was a historic Jesus, that he was a person who lived in Israel in what the beginning of what we call the first century A.D. And there's discrepancies about what year that actually was, but
Right.
there was a real Jesus, and they say he epitomized the best of Judaism.
You know, one of the best
And
examples.
yet he said, I am the Messiah, I am
Yes.
he. So if he was not, that's hardly the best of Judaism.
Exactly. One of the best examples I can give of that truth that you just so beautifully spoke was there's a man in Israel. His name is Zev Parat, Messiah of Israel Ministries. He was born and raised in Israel. He was born into an Orthodox family, Orthodox Jewish family. His daddy was a rabbi. His grandparents were rabbis. His great-grandfathers were rabbis. He was studying to be a rabbi when he came to Christ by hearing, being on the internet and hearing the gospel and comparing scriptures to scriptures. He gave his life to Christ. Now he spends his life ministering to his fellow Jews the truth of the gospel. And he took that movie and was distributing it all over Israel, and a gentleman, an Orthodox Jewish gentleman, was watching the movie. And in the movie, I talk about Psalm 22, where, you know, it says, behold, they have pierced my hands and my feet. They've gambled for my clothing under my feet. They surround me. They say, let him deliver himself. He delivered others. You know, the very words. Now, Psalm 22 was written 1,000 years before Jesus did that.
Yes.
So this Orthodox Jew watches the film. He watches that explanation of Psalm 22. He calls Zev Parat. He says, I've been up all night for 3 nights. He says, I can't get over this. I've never seen Psalm 22 before.
Right.
He said, I read that because of watching that and reading that. He says, you need to come to me now. And he's in Tel Aviv. That was 6 o'clock in the morning. Zev said, I'm on the way. He got to his house, and this Orthodox Jew says, I give my life to Jesus Christ.
Hallelujah.
So just what you said.
In Isaiah 53.
Right.
They
right.
don't read Isaiah 53. If they read those scriptures.
Yeah, we've actually read Isaiah 53 to Jewish people, and
At a
they were
Passover.
stunned.
They don't know.
They say, well, that sounds like it's about Jesus.
That's right.
Here's Isaiah, and we read this coming down, Isaiah 11. In that day, the heir to David's throne will be a banner of salvation to all the world. The nations will rally to him, and the land where he lives will be a glorious place. In that day, the Lord will reach out in his hand a second time to bring back the remnant of his people.
Yes.
But out of the stump of David's family will grow a shoot, yes, a new branch, bearing fruit from the old root.
Amen.
And the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might. Now, who could this be about? The Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. He will delight in obeying the Lord. He will not judge by appearance nor make a decision based on hearsay. He will give justice to the poor, make fair decisions for the exploited. The earth will shake at the force of his word, and one breath from his mouth will destroy the wicked. He will wear righteousness like a belt and truth like an undergarment.
And we're living in those prophetic times right now.
Amen.
Wow.